So you read the title, you know what this is, basic Fusion 360 tools that you need to know about. Because quite frankly, when you first see this software, it's pretty overwhelming, to be honest, isn't it? So you've got all these weird things, you're like, oh, what does this all do? I don't know what this does. So I want to show you how to make stuff, you know, because that's what you really want to do. You want to make that thing you want to make. So basically, when you're making stuff, it works into two steps, okay? You've got to create the shape, like a drawing of it, okay? And then you give that drawing some dimension. So I'll show you what I mean. So what you can do is you can start a sketch by clicking up here, or you can press R for rectangle, or C for circle, L for line. It's pretty good to know the shortcuts. It just makes it a lot faster when you're doing Fusion 360. So I'm going to press R for rectangle, okay, and you can too. So this is pretty confusing, right? So basically, I'm just going to press escape there because that confused me a bit. So there's this shape up here. So this is like what view you have. So you can click all these buttons, you can click these edges, and you can click the corners and stuff, and you can really get different angles and stuff. I have my settings on the Tinkercad settings, so I can move about using my mouse nice and quickly. But if you press R for rectangle, you can then select a plane that you want to draw on, okay? You'll get the hang of these pretty quickly. So just click the bottom one, because we're on the top down view, okay? And you can basically make your rectangle as big as you want, really, because you know you've got an infinite space here. So once you've done that, you've got a pretty good square. So you click finish, okay, which is just up there, okay, and then you have this amazing drawing. This could be the side profile of a car or a wheel or something like that. And then you want to give it some depth. You know, you want it to be a tangible thing. So if you press E extrudes the object. So you click on that, and bam, amazing. So you can also play about with these things. That's also pretty fun. I don't really use that much, but it's good to know it's there. You just click enter. Look at that, pretty good. We just made a box. That's one of those things up there. You've made a dice. That's what you've done, an unnumbered dice. So maybe you want to do something extra cool with that. Maybe you want to put the one circle on the top of it. So as you can see, our sketch plane is down here. See, it's at the bottom of the box. So we could do it down here, and we can press C for circle, and we can draw a little circle there. I'm just going to press Control Z, okay, just to bring me back to here. So we want it to be up there, really, don't we? So the rule is, wherever you've clicked, wherever that blue thing is, okay, when you press R for rectangle or C for circle, that sketch button in the top corner, it moves to that face. Pretty useful to know about. So now, instead of being stuck to this one plane and having to, I don't know, create a new circle down here, you've got to click on that, you know, it's pretty awkward. Maybe you want to, I don't even know, but you could do a circle here, but we're still stuck on that one plane. But now, you know, you can click on there, click C for circle, brilliant, finish sketch. You can click on here, press C for circle, and bam, we're on that new plane. It's awesome. So you can create a circle there. Personally, I want to get it centered, so I'm going to do a rectangle, 2.5 by 2.5, brilliant. And then we're going to C for circle. Look at that. Now we've got a little circle on our dice. So we're going to finish sketch, because we're going to finish the sketch, and then we want to give it some depth, don't we? So look at that. And then what we can do is we can E for extrude, and we can extrude it down, okay? So we can do that whole angle thing, so it's a bit divoted, but that doesn't look very great, does it? No. So you can click enter, and then you select this inner circle, whatever, okay? And you press F for fillet. Now the fillet tool is just there if you really want to use your mouse, but it's good to press F. Okay, so then you can round it out, see, like that? So that little circle there exists because when we made the circle, okay, the width, because obviously a sphere is like half a full circle, a dome is like half a full circle, so basically what we need to do is we need to know how wide this is, okay? So what we can do is we can click this, and you can see down here, it says our radius is 7.0707, so what we can do is when we do that, we do extrude, we can then do 0.7, click in there, 0.707. Excellent work. So now we can press F for fillet, and bam, we should be able to, there we go, get a perfectly sized divot. Okay, so another cool tool, let's say you want to make because we're all about learning tools. We're not going to make an actual dice, but what you can do is you can click up here. You can click this chamfer button. Okay, so this allows you to then create an angle on it. Isn't that pretty neat? But it's 45 degrees. It's pretty boring. But what you can do is you go up here. You can do 2 distances, and you can make it however sort of size you want. You can also do distance and angle. So this kind of lets you do that. So whichever one's your vice, you can use that. You can obviously then go on these and then press F for fillet again, and then you can make them rounded. So you can do all kinds of really exciting shapes with that. That's really where your models start to look a bit more professional, is when you start giving them like, ergonomically good shapes, rather than just being a bunch of spheres and triangles and shapes just thrown together. Okay, so next tool you should know about is the construct plane. Well, yeah, you make an offset plane. So to show you this, I'm going to make a drawing on this plane. So all we're going to do is press C for circle, and we're going to select this plane here, so we're on the same thing as the dice. And I'm just going to make it over here, so it's a completely separate thing. We're going to make it 5 centimeters wide. So you could extrude this. Okay, you could do that by pressing E, by the way. Remember that. But we're going to finish our sketch. I'm going to create an offset plane. So it's all well and dandy being able to click on there and make your plane, or you can click on these and make your plane. What we're going to do is click on here. Okay, so we construct the offset plane, and we click on that. And you can drag this. Look at that, amazing. So we've just created another one of these. So what happens now is when we click to create a new sketch, we before could only click on these 3. Okay, but now we can also click on this one. So as you can see, our box is kind of over there. So what we can then do is we can make a rectangle. This allows you to make some really cool shapes. Okay, so now we've got one rectangle up here and a sphere, a circle down there, but we want to join them. So what you can do is you can create a loft. Okay, so what this means is you basically select 2 faces, or you can select multiple, to be fair, and it will go through and join them all up. So you can create I don't know, a hexagon up here, and it will connect them all together. So as you can see, we've got those 2 together, and you just click OK. Look at that, made a really cool shape there. And then obviously you can go do that again to your heart's content. You'll notice that this orange one isn't here anymore. So on the side you can make things viewable and not viewable, basically. So you can see these bodies. So there's basically a couple of things you should know. So the body is pretty important. These make these viewable. Okay, so if you want to do something without this being in the way, you can just quickly get rid of it. Okay, and you can name them as well. I wouldn't name that bloody shape, I don't know what it's called. But you can also go through and you can make all your sketches viewable. So you can see these as well, see? And you can make them disappear. So remember how we made that rectangle to make that circle in there, and you made this rectangle up here, and all these shapes. So you can view these sketches too. By default, they'll just normally disappear, and then the same as with construction. So this plane, we couldn't see it just a second ago, but we could create an offset plane from that offset plane. Brilliant. So you've done that, and then obviously we can create a new shape, new sketch, sorry. You see it's all the way up there, amazing. And we can do whatever bloody shape we want, okay. And then you just do that. Brilliant, excellent. And then if you press escape, you can actually tweak these, so that's really fun to do. That's just using that spline tool there. So if you click finish, now we've got this one, we can click here. I mean, you're not really limited by the software. It's more about like which things you know of, really. So we've made this one, and then we can just select this one down here by pressing shift. And how it does it, I don't know, but it connects the 2 shapes together, and it's really cool. So that's that. But let's say you want to make a super organic looking shape, you can click this form tool. Okay, so I've already got a video on this, and I'll go through it and look on my channel and you'll find it. Basically, it's just making a blob, and it's a bit difficult to work with, but the things that you can create are more organic. So you can click finish form, and then you can, oh no you don't, you want to edit form. And basically what you can do is you can double click on a line and it'll select the entire line. This works for anything. and you can modify it. Okay, so you can, I don't know, move it bigger, smaller. You can change the plane. So you can see there, I just drag that out. That's using the big squares, or you can move it individually by using the arrows. You can change the angle. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. Brilliant. So we've got all these weird shapes now, and that's really good. But let's say you want to edit that the square again, right? So you can obviously just remove that body, and you can remove this body, that body. And now we're back to business. So you can remove that plane, and look, you can just go back to editing what you were editing before. And you can also, here's a cool thing, I'll move me out the way because this is kind of important. I'll just go over here, look at that, amazing. So you can click on these down here, okay? So let's say you didn't like how it's got a divot in it now, like a little dome. You can click down here, remember we used that filleting tool, there we go, so it's just that one. You can click delete. Look, now it's no longer like this, and everything else in our history hasn't been changed. So it's really clever how you can do that. And you can actually go through and you can edit sketches, and you can do all kinds of things with these circles. So I don't know, let's say we move this off to the side, you can finish sketch, and now our hole's a bit further off to the side. So it's really useful to know about those sorts of tools because they really help you when you're doing your business, you want to do your thing. So you can obviously E for extrude. So you can make them come out, or you can put them back through, and it goes red, okay, and then you can make a circle all the way through. You can also do symmetric up here, so you have all these options to play with. So you can obviously see it's symmetrical, and you can do like two sides. So you have two sides, you can basically change them individually, and you can do this as well. So you can cut and join, so you can force it to be like a new one, or you can make sure that it's definitely deleted. So you can do that when you press the extrude button. So that's basically it. Another thing is you can measure stuff, from obviously one side to one side. You can measure that. I'm just going to quickly check if there's anything else that's good to know about. You can do fun stuff with coils. You won't really use it too often. I think that's basically it. Revolve's pretty neat. So I'll show you revolve. So I'm just going to remove this body here. So I'm going to do a new sketch. So we're going to press R for rectangle. Okay. And actually I'm going to do a really fancy line. Okay, so you can make a vase, okay, and you can, this is a terrible looking vase. Excellent. And then, damn it. Hang on. Blah, blah, blah. Just a really fun shape, okay? So double click to finish it, and then you do a line from here to here, and then from here to there. Excellent. So now, escape, finish sketch. You can click this, okay, and this could be any shape you really want, obviously. And you can click this revolve tool. There you go. And what you basically do is you have this. You can also press profile. So it says profile, okay, so we've got that one selected from earlier, or you can do that bottom one. I'm going to choose to ignore it, so it's got a flat base. Okay, and then you've got the axis that you're going to rotate it around. So we could pick this axis down here, and it'll be like some weird disc. But if we select this axis, okay, just here, you can see we just made this cool mushroom looking thing. Okay, so that's super useful to know about because you can obviously, you can make gears with that if you really want to. You can make all kinds of fun shapes. I've made a spinning top doing that as well. It's very easy to do. But yeah, it's just about knowing of all these tools and what they do, and they can really help you. Another pretty useful tool to know about is when you do, let's say you've got this really fancy drawing, okay? I'll press L for line, okay? So you've got this really squiggly shape. It's super complex, but you want to create an outer wall for it, okay? So what you can do is click this offset tool up here, okay? So you click up there, and look, you can make a new offset for itself. Oh, that's really cool, isn't it? So you can obviously punch in a number there if you want it to be a centimetre wide. You just click OK, and then you've got a bigger tracing of it, and you can obviously extrude that, and you can give it more shape. Click enter. Yep, cool. So you can do that. Obviously, if you want to draw on this plane here, you can click R for rectangle and see how we're now editing on that plane, even though it is not one of the original construction planes that were down there. We can actually draw up here. So finish sketch. Look, we can now. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Finish sketch. You can extrude that out by pressing E. You can do all kinds of weird shit. So, you know, you can cut through it, or you can obviously, remember, you can join it back up. So now you've got this weird shape. Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? So let's say you want to join this shape and this shape together, okay? Because you obviously made them separately, and they're your favorite shapes, and you're just like, oh, what if I combine them to make them even better? Click on both of them, okay, right? So you want to make sure you can see them, because that just makes your life easier. You click this combine tool, okay? So over here it's like target body, so it's asking for a body, okay? So you remember it's got bodies up here, it's not asking for a sketch. You just click on this, and then you can also press shift, and then you select your new body. Look at that, you've got the two bodies, and you join them together, and now it's just the one object when you make them go away and come back. So that's pretty cool. You can obviously move it out the way. You can click this move tool, just like, yeah, that's confusing, isn't it? Click OK, and then when you make everything else appear again, this big blob isn't in your way. So that's really cool. But let's say you want to split it in two, you know? That's what you want to do. You've decided you don't like this shape, it's not your favourite shape anymore. You can construct a new plane. So you click this, you drag one out, and you got it there, okay, you got it wherever the hell you want it to be, okay. And you can obviously do an offset plane off an offset plane, remember. So you can click the split body tool, okay. So you've got this body and you want it in two pieces again. So you can click on it, and then you select the splitting tool. Okay, so see when you select that, it made these kind of appear. You know it's what it's looking for, so you can kind of click OK, and bosh, look at that. Now this body is two bodies. Madness. Okay, so you can kind of like, I don't know. I have used the offset tool to make a wing. So you can create a sketch. Okay, so I made a sketch of an aerofoil over here, and I made a sketch of an aerofoil over here, and I used the loft tool to join it together. Okay, and then I wanted ribs, you know, that I could put on a stick, basically. So you can then create the plane, you can split the body up into multiple sections, and each of those is a rib. That's basically it. I hope that made sense. I'll show you actually, if you really want. So, RC plane, perfect. So we're going to do a wing. Let's give it a sec for it to load. So I've got loads of bodies in here, okay, loads. But basically, I don't want to get too complicated, but I made all the way back here in my sketches, okay, probably one of the first sketches I did. Yeah, okay, hang on, I'm just making sure, I can know what's going on, just give me a sec. So, great, brilliant. Give me one moment, please. So you can see I have this profile here. Yeah, okay, so that's what's going on. Okay, cool. So I just need to undo this. So I made a sketch over there, okay, and then I made a sketch over here, okay, and I selected both the sketches, and I did a loft, and I made it one big wing, and then once it was one big wing, I used the construction, I constructed new offset planes, okay, and I basically, you can see how kind of complicated it eventually gets. There you go. So to make this rib here in the wing, I created these two offset planes, and I split the body, okay, and I did that over here and over here, and I had these, okay. So that's pretty neat. If you want to learn how to do the hexagon thing, basically all I did is I created a plane up here, okay, an offset plane up there, and then I imagine it's this sketch here. So I drew out a few hexagons. You can do the pattern, and you can go rectangular pattern, and then just click on that and you'll find out how to do it. And basically I created these hexagons, and then I make sure, I selected the hexagons that I liked, because obviously I don't want to go a top-down view. I didn't want to cut out all these bits, so I didn't select those hexagons. But once I had selected these hexagons that I wanted everything to be cut out, I made the bodies that I didn't want to be cut. So these ribs down the center here, they obviously don't have the hexagon pattern in, but I made the bodies disappear so they couldn't be affected. And then you can just drag them through, and then you make sure it's on cut, not join, because otherwise you'd have a bunch of pile of hexagons, and then you can just cut it out. I'll actually show you how to do that right now. So if you do rectangle on this plane. Okay. Then you do a polygon. Awesome. So you can do a hexagon, and then I did a few hexagons. You kind of measure them out when you're doing the first few, but obviously you can create like different size shapes and kind of merge them together. Okay. What you do is you do rectangular pattern, select the objects. Yeah, okay. And then click OK. Sorry, I did this during a long night ago. Rectangular pattern, yeah, rectangular pattern. Ah, yes, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, you just drag them out. And you can change how many you want. So if you want like, I don't know, 50. Oh, no, that's going to take ages to load. Okay, do 5. Okay, and then you can drag them out to the spacing you want them to be at. Okay, and then click OK. And you've got this hexagon pattern, okay? You can obviously select all the hexagons that you wish. You can also drag over them actually, so that's probably useful to show you. You basically press E for extrude, and then look, now I've got all this hexagon cut out from all these shapes. So, you know, there's some tools for you. With those tools you can basically get away with doing anything you want to make. Like I showed you, you can make some pretty complicated stuff with those skills. Just make those disappear. Yeah, cool. Why is that showing? Oh, it's because it's selected, of course. So yeah, you can make, like I said, really complicated shapes. You can then put... sorry, I'm just going to show you an example of like how complicated it can get. So it's good to name them if you're doing a big project like this. You know, I know right now that that's a cover. That will be a body part, you know, stuff like that. The offset tool is also super useful. So as you can see, I tried 3D printing this, but this body here wouldn't fit inside the printer. So I constructed new planes just in there and in here, and I basically just cut that section in parts. So I printed the middle, the back, and the front in different sections. So I hope that was a quick little rundown on all the different tools that you can kind of play about with Fusion. From here, if you want to make it an STL, you just do File, Export. You can scroll on this, pro tip there, or you can click on it, but you do STL, name it whatever you want, put it wherever you want using the browsing, and then you just click Export. And oh yeah, you have to have it saved, so it has to be saved in some sort of folder, so you just click there, and then once that's saved, you can then export it. I think that's mostly it. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that. I've made like computer mice parts using that form tool, you know, yeah, as well. If you want to remember, this is super cool. So it's the F tool, fillet, to be able to like do stuff like that. I think that's basically it. I don't want to ramble on any longer than I need to, because it's a 20-minute video already. But you know, I hope I got down to what you kind of need to know about for Fusion 360. You know how all those buttons down there work. Use them to your heart's content. Bye!